When the man resurrected for the 150th time, he finally reached the boss stage. The sword girl had been waiting for him, but every time, she would decapitate him with a single strike. Determined to win, the man sought out a Chinese sword master and became her student. By his 158th resurrection, they started training with their bare hands as swords. At first, the master beat him badly, leaving him covered in bruises. By his 161st resurrection, he had built a solid foundation. They moved on to using wooden sticks as swords, but he was still no match for the master. With her patient guidance, he gradually grasped the essence of swordsmanship and was finally allowed to use a wooden sword. By the 174th resurrection, he could exchange a few moves with his master. By the 198th resurrection, he was skilled enough to duel with real swords. After 7 moves, he defeated his master. With his sword skills now maxed out, the man bowed to his master in respect. Then, he returned to the boss stage. This time, he put down his gun and picked up a sword from the wall. The sword girl lunged at him, but he stood his ground. With just 2 effortless swings, he sliced off an inch of her hair. He wielded his sword with one hand. He had reached the peak of sword mastery. Even when his sword was knocked away, he swiftly grabbed another blade and took down the sword girl. Now, only the final boss remained, a 400-pound bodyguard serving as the last line of defense. But the man simply drove his sword straight through the bodyguard's forehead. The old boss himself wasn't much of a fighter, so he was easily subdued. At that moment, the old boss realized why the man had become so powerful. It was all because the man's ex-wife had used the boss's world-dominating restart system on him. Desperate, the old boss sent assassins after the man's son. Hearing this, the man killed the boss immediately and rushed to save his child. But he was too late. The assassins had already killed his son. The man collapsed in despair. At that moment, the overloaded restart system triggered a massive explosion, destroying the entire city. Once again, the man was thrown into the time loop. This time, he was completely broken. He gave up. He let the first assassin kill him without resistance. Again, and again, and again. He lost count of how many times he died. Then, suddenly, he made a decision. He would try one more time. Seizing the moment, he leaped onto a plane and forced the pilot to fly him to the enemy base. At exactly 7:10, he arrived. By 7:12, he had taken down all the assassins with a Gatling gun. 2 minutes later, he wiped out the remaining guards and reached the old boss before he could harm his ex-wife. This time, the man won. He saved his ex-wife. He defeated the old boss. He saved the world. But it wasn't over yet. The restart machine was still set to explode. To stop it, the man had to merge with the machine itself. He had no idea what would happen once he stepped inside. But for the people he loved, he didn't hesitate. He walked into the machine without looking back.